Okay, so we're going to go back a little bit. City council. You got beat the first time, and so you come back. John Taylor does not want to run again. So the people come to you and say, you got to run. Okay. So you run, and what was different running the second time than the first time?
Well, I'd learned a lot. When I ran the first time, they said, well, I believe that you have to go knock on doors and ask people to vote for you. First time I just went down the street, every house, knocking on doors. I mean, I didn't realize that, only about 15, 20% of people voted. I would knock on doors and say, we don't vote. And I was just wasting my time. So I finally realized I could go to the election commission and get a list of everybody that voted the year before. And so that's I targeted those houses that had voted, and that's where I went and knocked on doors. Now, if they had a dog in the yard, I would give that to my opponent.
So okay, so you end up you win
Yeah.
the first term. Still got the picture at the office. I look at it every day. So you win. What did you think when you? I have to ask you, being you, what did you think when you won? Like, did it not dawn on you and go, okay, exactly what do I do now? Like, did you have any idea what the job entailed?
Not really, but I had kept up with it because, I started paying more attention to what was going on. The people at these different neighborhood associations, I got to know so many of them, and they said, "Come back." They'd have a party or something important. They asked me to come, and I'd go to them and listen to them, and found out. Of course, when I got elected, I didn't realize that we were getting paid as much as we did, or any. I thought it was just like being on the different civic boards that I've been. That you just went, had a meeting, made a vote, and go home.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't realize we had our own office, nice office, got benefits and everything. I didn't know that all that went on, so that was a pleasant surprise.
Mm-hmm. So you get in. Who was on there the first time?
Oh,
Can you remember them?
Duke Franklin,
Okay.
Yusuf,
Yusuf Akeem.
Yusuf Akeem.
Was Peter on there the first time?
No.
Okay. Pam?
No.
No.
Dadgummit, I'm having a brain fart.
Okay.
No. Who has just died? Lehman Pierce.
Okay, Lehman Pierce. Yeah.
Lehman Pierce.
Jack Benson?
Jack Benson.
Okay.
Marty Rutherford.
Okay. That's right. I forgot about Marty. Okay.
Yeah. And gosh, I can't think of another one.
Okay. So you go to the first meeting, and it blew my mind that I remember the night, and we were all down there. I think we went to City Cafe after. And I can just remember a lot of silence because you had to be exhausted from the whole campaign. And we didn't know what the heck had just happened. It's like I was like, how is he suddenly a city councilman? And exactly what is that? So you come in, I remember going down, you getting your office ready and everything. So what what was the change for you, the way that you looked at the city? I think you and the mayor were pretty tight because didn't Ron win that year? Was his first term?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ron Littlefield. And so you always seem to be pretty tight with Ron. So what was your, you were a different person after I'm talking about in a good way. You became a councilman and suddenly you were Manny. Somebody started. So I don't know if anybody knows this, but I'd never heard you be called Manny except for a guy when I was playing football at UTC and this kid from Alabama, a big tall white boy, and he would call you Manny when you'd come and go, and I go, what is that? And he goes, Manny, it's kind of like the Spanish Santa Claus. I said, okay, I guess. But now somewhere along the line, somebody called you Manny, and now that's who you're known as.
Yeah.
Now, who started that?
Bob Corker.
Bob Corker?
Yeah, because see, when I ran the first time and lost, Bob Corker was running for mayor. And so,
That's right, okay.
He'd go, we was on the same circuit.
Okay,
We'd all go
right.
to the same circuit and make our speeches and everything. And he'd always call me Manny. Well, that stuck. Everybody just started calling me Manny.
Yeah, I never could understand it because I was like, where did this nickname come from? But then before too long, the newspaper picked it up.
Yeah.
And now everybody says that now, And you talk about the change. You said you keep getting some other what'd you say, Native American guy that you get mistaken for. Well, me, it was at Bilo, which might have been something different at the time, and I would walk in and out, and everybody yelling, "Hey, Manny! Hey, Councilman!" And I got to where I was getting the Richard Nixon peace signs after a while, just accepting it. So you're on the council, and I guess I say this, is that it's all new to you and everything. I know some of the ups and downs of things you had to deal with the council. You know, they tried to recall you and Jack and the mayor at one time and all that garbage that went on. All that stuff seemed stressful at the time. Are you like me to where looking back, like if you had to deal with it now, that it'd be nothing? Seriously, sure. Like after you go through it, see, I got to see a lot of the stuff you went through. So to me, I'm like, oh man, I wouldn't even be bothered. Okay. But that was definitely a stressful time. But how did you, I guess what I'm trying to say is I saw you as a younger man in the 70s. Now you say reprobate. I don't know what word would be for you. You were, hot temper. Yeah. Nobody's going to tell Manuel. I knew Manuel. Okay. Everybody knows Manny. Hot tempered, going to do whatever you want. You didn't care what people thought. To turn into Manny, who seemed to embrace that you took it serious. I'm not saying other people didn't. I'm not about to judge other people. Yeah. You know that. But I'm saying I know you, and you took it serious. What clicked with you to where you knew what was going on, and it was, because you showed up to work every day there. Yeah,
I did. Well, the thing about, a lot of, and I've seen this through the years as an elected official, politician, whatever you call it. I like to think that I was a public servant. But I've seen these guys get in there, and all of a sudden they were prima donnas. Mm. They thought they were somebody. Yeah. I was humbled by the fact that people elected me to a position like this after I realized the importance of it and the responsibility of a city council was. And like I said, that humbled me. I really wanted to do what was right. And of course, get back, he's talking about stress. Yes, it was stressful, but like I tell people, I refereed for 10 years basketball. I said, you don't know pressure till you get up there and you call a foul on somebody's kid. And, if you call one or if you don't call, some on each side is going to holler at you and call you names. That's stress. And the younger a kid is, the worse the parents are. So that kind of helped. But the stress was in, I guess, you want to please everybody, but you can't.
No, Ricky Nelson taught us that.
Yeah. But, like somebody said, I don't see how you do that. That was really, really hard. I said, no, it's not really hard because you just try to do what's right. And we all know wrong from right. Mm-hmm. And that the only thing that bothered me is when I had to make a hard decision and people that I voted against were on telling me like, well, you're just being bought, somebody's paid. And that really hurt because I only did what I thought was right. And that hurts you when you try to do what's right and people think you're a crook.
Oh yeah, no, and I know you were. I know you were always about what you were supposed to do, and that's why I tell people when they ask me and they talk about you being on the council, and I go, no, he was all in. I would have been the biggest jerk in the world because then people said that to me. I'd have said, it wouldn't even bother me. It wouldn't, but you took it to heart because you would upset people. Remember, we'd have talks, and I'd say you're one of 9 votes. Yeah. You can only do what you can do. But I could remember it just. And I'm not judging either the next 4 years, but I thought the next 4 years you had some more characters on there. I don't know. I thought Peter was awesome. I love Pam. We saw her not too long ago at the office. Andre, yeah. Definitely. Now, Andre disappointed me because we were at UTC when you guys were running, and he was very rude to Lehman. And I thought that, he's running against Lehman, right? Didn't he take his spot?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was very rude. Well, see, I grew up, I didn't care Democrat, Republican, anything of the sort. I always respected Lehman Pierce, as a man, no matter what. And it killed me when Andre was, because I don't think young people should do that. There's a lack of respect there. But no, there was some characters there. And I loved, even when I got to attend something, just the stuff going back and forth. And I wouldn't judge any of the other council people at all. I just remember them making fun of you at one time because you showed up at every ribbon cutting. But that's how we are. Right. If they said, look, this is all these events are going on, you taught me if that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you go. Why did they give you such a hard time about that?
Because they didn't want to do it, take their time to do that.
Yeah.
Most of them had jobs.
Yeah.
And the thing about it, when somebody asked you to go to their function as the elected official, that's part of our job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why they pay us. I know I had this one official we sell him a monument for this thing, and he was an elected official, and we was driving along, and he said he's talking to this other elected official, and they were saying, said Manny's doing a lot of stuff on his ribbon cuttings that we should be doing, but we don't. And I said, well, yeah, that's true. And then they did. They really give me a hard time about it, but I was only doing my job. I'll tell you a funny story about that. We was at a meeting one time, this luncheon, and this one guy said, I'm on commission this painter to draw up this painting of Noah coming out of the ark there, and Manny's there cutting the ribbon.
I never heard that one. I like that. I like that. But I knew when they would give you a hard time about it, and I was thinking, he's just that's how come with, and you know me to be this way. If you ask me if I want to go do something, if I say anything other than yes, what's the answer?
No.
It's right. It's no. But if you said, look, this is part of what we need to do, here's a list, and you need to be at all these things, I wouldn't like any of it, but I'd show up at every one of them. I think you enjoyed it because you enjoy people. Yeah. You know, I don't really enjoy anybody else's company as much as I do my own. You know, so I'm not really like that. But you engage with people, and I think that was, and I never understood it because I loved Uncle Joe and Uncle Ross. You know, I never talked much to Uncle Philip, but I loved them. I thought they were great guys. But they're so different than you. I don't know why you're so different. That's one of the things that really, I don't think that could see Uncle Joe. And you know I loved him just tremendously. And Uncle Joe thought I was great. But they couldn't have done that. They could see, that's what I'm saying about you come out, your guys are poor as can be. You come from all this disadvantage, which, you know, people would definitely understand that. How is it that you were different? I just don't get it.
I don't either. And you know, even growing up, as a teenager, I knew that was different from Joe. Because I mean, he would have fights with his friends. I said, "They're our friends. What are you doing?" You know, it was just, I don't know. I was basically raised by Bernie Sinelli, teaching me how to act as a person. Mm-hmm. They said, look at me as a Mexican. They wanted me to be a good citizen. So. Mm-hmm. A lot of the stuff they instilled me, I kept, and they never were around. They weren't social people. Mm. But I tell you, it was hard for me, even when I first started. Remember when I first started Sertoma Club? Mm-hmm. I joined that because, you know, at first it was because, you know, as a businessman, you know, you need to get your name put out and everything. And the hardest thing about even being around those, because you know, a club like that, you had all kind of doctors, lawyers, the insurance people, business people. And here I was, and most of them all educated college people. Here I was at high school graduation. And didn't have a clue with some of the stuff. But I learned so much by sitting there, listening to them, and keeping my mouth shut.
I did too. I really did too.
You can learn by, you learn observing people, how they are. Mm-hmm. You learn how to, you know, I'm not saying judge it, but realize the different characteristics people have and how certain people act or their demeanor or their opinion stuff. So you learn a lot by just being around different people.
Yeah.
And even at the council, I was the one I probably didn't have, you know, graduate from college, but I had a lot of common sense, and I had a lot of people tell me, said, we appreciate your common sense. We know what you're talking about when you talk to us.